Hello? Oh, okay. So, what a mess. Ugh. So, and like, I don't have the most perfect setup because, like, this is my sort area over here, as you can tell, and I've got the laptop behind me. So, like, I have to turn around to see the laptop. So, not exactly the best situation. I'm wondering if you hear me better like this or better like this. Number two or number one? Because I'm trying to figure out where the microphone is. Is it on the computer or is it on the webcam? I don't know. Ugh. Second one. So this is better of a sound here. About the same. Okay. Well, they're both relatively close to each other, so that's not terribly surprising. Hello. Four people. All right. Well, thank you for stopping in and hopefully finding your way here from the other broken stream that didn't seem to want to work. So we got starting at the top. JB popped in first because, well, he was probably waiting for the right thing to show up. Xander Baby, Chris James, Great Brick Lab, hello. Zion Lin, is that pronounced correctly? I have no idea. And Karina P is also here. And there's Mark Zapanta down there. And Arch Excel. And Just Brick in a Bucket. I'm assuming that's Evan? Just guessing. Notification Squad. Well, there you go. Oh. So yeah, my plan was just to sort stuff, I guess. I don't really know. Yay, thanks, Evan. But I mean, you know, we could certainly, I could talk about some other stuff. I have a bag over here, this white bag. That is stuff that I bought at Brick Universe, and very little of it is actually physically Lego, but it's all related stuff. And I thought I'm going to do a haul video on it at some point, but I figured I could like show it off during the stream. It's kind of like the special preview. So I've got that going on, and I got my orange flavored water that I'm going to be drinking profusely to keep my voice in check. JB is sorting used currently. Well, that's kind of what I've been doing. Let's see. I'm gonna look at the stream. So yeah, you can see. Whoops! There goes my light. My rows start way down here. You probably can't even see it. And each one of these book bins, which do I have an empty one to show? I don't think I have an empty one per se, but I have this one down here, and it's basically what I'm using to sort into. And I found that when I fill it up to this point here, before it starts getting too high, if I dump it at that point, it fills a gallon bag. When I put the gallon bag down here and pour it out this way, so the two taller sides help to keep the pieces in place a little bit better as I'm pouring. So that's kind of the way I do that. Chris James is done with Lego for today. So what did you stop into the stream for? It's kind of a Lego related stream. Let's see. Mark's been tonight down to one shoebox size. That's pretty good. So you're going to need to be sourcing more, JB. You know, it's going to need more. Yeah, long day. I get that. Wow, there's 8 people here. I think that's probably close to as many as I've had previously because I've done this twice before. I did it once when I was looking at for suggestions of what types of things to track once I get to that point, which is going to be very soon. And even before that, when I built the Batman cowl set that I found at a store early. So I figured I'll grab that early and build it in a stream, and I did that, and that was kind of fun, but that was like a year ago. Actually, that's actually a good point. So like this stream is to celebrate doing a year's worth of videos every day. And when I had gone back through my videos, I'd seen that I missed April 23rd and April 15th last year. It turns out you could argue that I didn't miss April 23rd because April 23rd is the day I built the Batman cowl last year on a live stream. It just doesn't show it in the normal videos. You have to click on the live tab to see that date. And I didn't do that the first time through. So I thought I had missed the 23rd, but it was actually the 15th. So I'm a little over a year already. So not a bad thing. Oh, a couple other 100 pounds in another bin. Well, there you go. You're getting there. No, nothing is in Bricklink yet. I still have to go down and number drawers. I actually have to put some drawers up still that were going on the wall because they had to come down so they could dig the hole at the bottom of the floor around the perimeter, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, I mean, there's steps to go before I get down there. And I don't want to rush things, but I don't want to dally either. And I'll be honest, there's a little bit of a motivation thing because, like, for over a year now, I've just been kind of wallowing in, like, yeah, well, I got to do this stuff eventually, but I'm not really doing much of anything. And now it's kind of more on me. So I kind of have to get into that rhythm of doing things and getting it done. Basement is pretty good. We actually had a good deal of rain over the last few days, and as near as I can tell, there's no problems down there. I did have some water on the floor, but I had moved the dehumidifier, the big new dehumidifier, and put a kink in the exit tube. And so it backed up into the dehumidifier and then dumped out like an emergency valve. So I unkinked it and everything seems to be fine. I threw some towels down and dried up some of the water, and I haven't had a problem since. So that was just a user error more than anything else. AX10 just got here. Hello. Well, I thought maybe I would do that tonight, but I mean, there's only 8 people here, so I figured maybe if we had like a dozen people or something like that. Call your friends. And I haven't seen David pop in yet, but he's just past closing time, I think. So oh. So yeah, that's kind of like what I'm up to at the moment. And as you can see, like some of these bins, like this is my modified plate. And when it gets to a certain point, I'm like, oh, it's almost filling a bag, and I'll put it in a bag, and then I just dump further pieces in the bag. And then I just basically periodically try to close it. Like this one is almost ready to be closed, but I could still fit a little bit more in there. So I do. Just try to fill them up completely. Oh, yeah, not pretty face. Well, you'll definitely not agree with that once you. I'm at the point now where I think if people call me handsome or distinguished, I'm okay with that, but I wouldn't call my face pretty by any means. But I appreciate that. Well, I have 256 18-gallon totes in the basement. I have a roughly 700-pound skid in the garage and a bunch more loose in the garage, in the living room. Actually, this sorting area, this table is just a couple of pieces of wood, and the wood is being held up by boxes of loose Lego that had never been opened. I just basically built them up. Um, yeah, I mean, I basically consider those 18-gallon totes between 45 and 50 pounds a piece. I think I figured it out. It's probably 10,000 pounds, but I'd have to double check the number. My math could be off. Yeah, I probably do have too much. You're absolutely correct. Well, and here's the thing. Well, and I had an idea, and I see since Evan is here, and JB is here, and Chris is here. I know you guys are selling used, and so I had an idea, and this is what I'm going to do. Well, I don't have any right here, but as I'm sorting, I'm pulling out stuff that I'm deeming to be not worth selling. The condition is too low. But I mean, that goes from anywhere from a piece that looks like it's been through a lawnmower to a piece that, like, yeah, there's a couple of dings on the edge of that, so I'm not going to sell that. So this is my idea. I want to get a selection of like maybe 10 or 12 pieces, preferably brick. And what I will do is I'll take a magic marker and I'm going to number each one of them. And then I'm going to like take a sheet of paper and I'm going to put my grading on them. And I might even include a couple of pieces that I would sell. Like that's minor enough, I would sell that. And then my thought is I would mail this out to another seller. And then they would forward it to another seller. And we would basically go around, we look at the exact same pieces with the numbers on them. So that then later on we can have this list of like, okay, this is where people's cutoffs are. Like they won't sell something of this one, but they'll sell everything above it or something like that. And then also, as other people are curious, if they want to, pay for postage to get it shipped to them and shipped back, they can get an in-person idea of saying these are what people have looked at, and it's the exact same pieces every time. And this is kind of like what they're talking about because I think there's one of the biggest things in the community is like that: what condition is okay for used and what condition is not okay. And I realize that varies by the type of piece, some, and the age of the piece and the rarity of the piece. But in general, there's that certain amount of wear that people are just like, is this too much? Is it not? And so I thought of that idea last night. Yeah, no, exactly. The two of you are going to have differing opinions, and it's kind of important to realize that different people's opinions. Now, like hopefully some of you are following the Montana Used Bricks. She does great videos, and I agree with like 98% of everything she says. And it's like she talked about condition, and she showed that it's really hard sometimes to show the condition in a photograph, or on video or something like that. So I thought that having a set of pieces that could feasibly travel and be that illustrative purpose for people would be useful to some people. Yeah, used tiles are rough. You're absolutely correct. I actually made a good observation. Um, like when I'm going through used bulk, I find that if I'm taking apart what was a built set, those pieces generally are in better shape than just loose pieces in the bin because they were probably put together once. And while it may have been played with, it didn't have the pieces being taken apart and put back together. And so you may only have one exposed side to a piece that had possible damage to it. The other two, three sides, or five sides, if you consider all five sides, are more protected because there was pieces on top of it and pieces below it and all that. So yeah, you know that's the other thing, JB. I agree with that because like some days I feel like I'm being much more stringent, and other days I'm like, yeah, I'll sell this. And so I think part of it is I want to just do it to like keep myself on an even keel. Like, nope, I don't want to sell this. Yeah, I can see that, and like I know that like it would be difficult if like you're selling pieces, you're pulling pieces to sell or that have sold. You can certainly say, "Oh no, this one isn't too good enough. I don't want to send it." But like, if you only have one, or if they're buying all 10 that you had listed, it gets more difficult to be able to edit that unless you can quickly go find a replacement piece. So it's definitely behooves us to list it correctly the first time, so we don't have that problem. Oh, we're down to 5 people. Well, it's not going to be a terribly raucous time tonight, but that's all right. I know that there was a couple of people said they were trying to stop by, but I don't know about the timing issues too. I mean, I know a couple of people are like 12 hours off from me, so it's like early in the morning. And yeah. Is anybody else up to anything Lego related? I mean, I know Chris isn't because he's done with Lego for today. Oh, I know what I could do. I could show some pieces I found recently that I didn't like. I've been involved with Lego for a long time in various different degrees, and I still will find pieces in bulk lots that I'm just like, I've never seen this before. And this is a good example of it here, right here. Let's see if I can get this on camera. Uh, I have never seen this piece before in my life. And I was just like, I don't even know what I mean, I could look it up. I see the number on it when I look, but I'm just like, wow, it's very specific looking. So yeah, I mean, it kind of looks like it's maybe like a mech type thing. Like you got the two side balls, and then there's some stud locations and whatnot. But I'm like, I'd never seen that before. Mandalorian helmet later, very nice. Yes, and small pieces are definitely a rough one. It's like I don't know that I've actually. I think I did. I filled up one bag of what I call the small flat stuff, which is like the cheese slopes and the double cheese slopes and things like that. I think I've only filled up 1 gallon bag. Well, I'm glad that I'm not the only one, JB. How about this one? It's a weird like half panel kind of thing. It's like it looks like a regular panel in some ways, but then the top is missing, and I'm pretty sure it's not broken. It's nice and smooth. There's no jagged edges on that. So I thought that was a different piece as well. Anyways, what is 42009 and 8458? Are they similar pieces, and that's why you're doing them both at the same time? Another one. This one, I know this is Lego, but my question is, do people sell them like this, or do they actually pop the yellow part off to sell them? My guess is they do it both ways, but oh, you get some of those panels in yellow? It's interesting. So this is, I think, I don't know, train related, but I'm not sure on that. I got like a whole bunch of them, and then I found just a yellow part later on when I was sorting. Hello, Amara. Thank you for stopping in. And then this is the last one. I'm pretty sure I'd seen this before, but I have no idea. Like, I think it's an older piece, but I'm just not really sure much about it. It's like a 1x2 plate, but and it's like a jumper, but instead of having a stud there, it's like a neck connection. It's really a strange looking thing, but it says Lego right on the end of the bar there. I don't know, you can see that there's too much glare. Technic motors, that's it. Yep. Yeah. I figured it's probably better off to do that. This is one that I'm not sure if it's Lego or not. I'm saving some of this to show off during a live stream, but it looks like it's like a weapon of some sort or a sickle or something. The little bottom part there near my pink. I just dropped it. I got another one over here because I found several of them. But it'll fit in a minifigure hand, like down by the thumb. But yeah, I didn't notice that it said Lego on it anywhere. It feels about right for material, but that's not really the best thing anymore. I think that's from Minecraft. Found one in white with a Minecraft skeleton head on it. Oh, okay. Yeah, I can see that. And then this, it's, I don't know. It's almost cardboard, but not quite. I don't know if it'll focus on it or not, but what does it say? It says Brick Brothers Pizza, I think it says. If I block enough of the webcam, it'll focus in on it. I don't know. Not really showing that off too well. But it's like almost a cardboard type thing, but then it does feel plasticky. I don't know. It's kind of strange. How long do you sort there in a day? You know, it really depends. Some days I don't, but generally I try to sort for 2 or 3 hours. I can, like, I had a whole bunch I had bought a lot of loose bulk in Texas and had it stored there with someone. And then when I was moving them up here, I had already shipped up some stuff in boxes. I had also bought a large collection of the UCS Star Wars sets down there, and they were delivered down in Texas, and they were delivered built. So last summer when I went down, I disassembled them all, bagged them up in gallon bags, boxed them up, and shipped them up here. But I had the boxes as well. So when I ended up bringing the cats up here, and then before we moved her up here, or at the same time, I loaded the empty boxes up with bags of loose bulk in gallon Ziplocs from the loose bulk that I had also purchased. And I just finished getting through the last of that bulk. And there was some really good stuff, like this one here. I found this amongst all that. I got a Max Rebo, so that was kind of cool. He looks like he's in pretty good shape. His head's a little loose. I'm thinking that might be normal because his head's a different material, so that might be a little normal. I mean, it doesn't come off if I turn him upside down, but it doesn't stay on super well. So I've started just sorting another random bit of Lego that, you know, I've got tons of it in different places. How many pounds of sorted do I think I have? That's a good question. Well, I think these bags are, is a gallon Ziploc about 2 pounds, 2.5 pounds? Because I probably have 60 or 70 of them like that that are already sorted. I mean, the plan is to, once they're in the Ziplocs, I will then sort the Ziplocs in totes by type. And then once the tote gets close to full, then I will wash them and start working on mold sort and that sort of thing. But I think I probably would have, say I have 60 to 70 bags. But that's a good question. I don't know offhand. Well, I do have a number of sets that I parted out. I did probably 4 sets 2 years ago now, just to make sure that the process of parting out a set didn't totally drive me bonkers, which it didn't. And then a friend of mine here who is going to help me with some stuff, and he's been good at motivating me at different points. He wanted to go through that process as well. So we sorted out another set. We parted out another set. The big issue with that is I have to get all the stuff together to see what I have as far as each set. And because I've been buying for so long, there may be a number of sets that I have that were intended originally to part out, but might have a better value now selling them as a whole set. I've been buying, I mean, I have some sets sealed from older than 3 years ago, but I've been more buying stuff to part out for like 2 years, 10 months. So almost 3 years. So the stuff that the sets that I've already parted out, we basically Ziploc bagged each of the lots, and then each set was put in a box. So I can basically say, okay, you know, here is a box, open it up, find the instructions. This is the set number, count the instructions. This is how many I have. And so it will be a very quick process to do that. So that'll be some of the first stuff that I deal with. But I also, my plan is to sort out some of the 1,500 piece sets that I have, the basic, the classic ones, the ones with the 4 plates. But I have so many of them that I don't think I want to try to tackle doing them all at once. And I think that might be a good thing to be like, do as a resupply a couple of different times. Because I think I've got over 70 of those. At one point, I think I had 75, but I think I gave one to someone as a gift or something like that. So I've got over 70 of them at this point. And so I'm thinking of doing like 15 or 20 of them initially. And then I'll still have a back stock of them. And then also, if I like do a show or something, I can bring 1 or 2 and sell it there as well as a whole set, theoretically. 7 people. Awesome. So, yeah. But yeah, did anybody have any clue on this one? Is this actually a Lego piece? This red sickle looking thing? It's kind of like got a blade, and the part by my thumb, a minifigure can hold it by that part. It's hard to see it really. Maybe the background there. I don't know. I didn't really know what to even call it. But I've got like 4 or 5 of them. Yeah, I think 4 because I dropped one. There's one on the floor somewhere now. Well, then it may not be Lego. Although if you have it too, the chances increase. I mean, it almost makes me think of like Ninjago. This one looks like it's chewed up a little bit, actually. But yeah, I don't know what this is. Hmm. Oh, well. Yeah, and I've got so many different little sub things I got to figure out. Like, I have to figure out what process I'm going to use for like minifigures. They just get sorted out like with minifigure parts and accessories. And for me, minifigure accessories is a little more broad than just minifigs and their accessories. Like I put steering wheels in there. There was a category that David had, 'cause all my sorting categories are derived off of his. And they're mostly the same, but I have made some adjustments over time. And I may make some more adjustments because there's some things that I'm sorting out that uh, maybe unnecessarily extra sorting at this stage. I mean, I kind of have the room to do it and it's in my head. Like I do sort out snot pieces, but they could very well go with just modified brick or modified plate. But I have been sorting out snot pieces. I also have this bin here of flags that I was sorting out. So all sorts of different flag type pieces, and some of them aren't strictly flags, but I mean, I can see how I would call that a flag, perhaps, all the way down to, look, it's a pennant, it's an actual flag, or these guys, or these guys. So I've been putting all those things in one, and it's getting full. And like I've got one that I put rock pieces in, both lerps and burps, and then like these guys, plus the half dome, the half circled spheres, and then also the rocky ones like these. They all go down here. And then I've got staircases like these guys, and then supports like these supports, and these supports, and then these funky shorter red supports, which are kind of cool. I also have slides in here, and the staircase pieces and all that. So I've got a drawer for that sort of stuff. But I mean, some of these categories are probably a little fine, and I could break them up a little bit. Like back there, I've got one that is it's bricks and plates, but they're the corner pieces. So it's like a 2x2, but with one of the studs missing. So I separate those out for some reason, but I could easily put those back in there into their constituent main categories to pare the categories down a little bit, because I have so many. I don't remember where I was going with that, but I was saying something else. But yeah, that's kind of the situation. JB, when you found this piece the other day did you actually look it up to see what it was from or anything? I'm just kind of curious. I haven't done that yet. I tend to do that with like interesting tile pieces and things. Like I had this tile. It's an actual Lego brick, and I'm worried that the sticker on it may not be Lego because it's not coming up in any of my searches. Oh, that was kind of weird. And I can't even tell if it's readable or are you getting a mirror image of the. I think you're getting the mirror image of the wording on it. MA-FGT-F4FX4 for what it's worth. Oh, we're up to 9 people. Look at that. Hello to those people that have stopped in and maybe who haven't said hello yet. Although I think I probably said hello to about 9 people. So it's possible people will come back and gone away and whatnot. But yeah, so I mean, I have, let's see if I can show it without, let's see. Over here, outside of you, is where I have my loose. I have one of the large Acromills drawers, and I scoop that full of pieces. I dump it in the tray here, and then that's what I work from. Oftentimes, I will leave the Technic in the tray and then dump it into the Technic bin. Kevin, who just joined? Hey, good evening to you as well. But yeah, I'll leave the Technic in the bin and just dump it off into the right spot when I'm ready. Also found this guy. I think this is one of the Adventure Time people. I'm not sure. I've been finding these occasionally, and I've actually been keeping them together. Usually, what I'll do is I'll put them in a Ziploc bag and then put that bag in with the minifigure stuff. It's got a lot of wear and coloration on that, though. It's white, doesn't really hold up really well. Did not look it up. Had some arms attached, so definitely a mech. Yeah, that makes sense. Oh, a serial number code. That makes sense. I wonder if that was. Is it a sticker or is it? Yeah, that's not a sticker. Oh, that's a good idea. It's like a game code or something. I've just given away a game code for some unknown game. That's cool. The gas from Mine. Oh, it's from Minecraft. Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah. I guess that makes sense too. But I'll probably leave it together in any case, even though it looks like it's essentially brick belt with a couple of decorated tiles on the front there. Hmm. Minecraft Ghost. Sandra Elizabeth Music. Well, hello. And Tega. I don't remember seeing your name either. Hello, hello. But yeah, I mean, and I have a bunch here that I was sorting that I've closed in on getting all done. So I just dump it out and start working on it. And of course, the ever-present non-Lego, although you've got a grill piece there. I know, I'm pretty sure that some of the companies make grill pieces besides Lego. I don't actually look on each of the grill pieces to see if it says Lego. I will do that at a different stage. It's just a little bit much to do right now. But yeah, I just go through and sort the pieces out. Everybody knows this process. It's kind of long and tedious, but kind of needs to be done. Got to make sure you put stuff in the right place, though. It doesn't help if you get it wrong. And of course, and it's funny too, because I find for myself when I'm going through a used lot, I tend to try to look at the studs in every piece, like all the bricks and the plates and modified bricks, modified plates, anything that has easily seen studs. Try to make sure it says Lego because I have seen a lot of the uh, M86 or some number. A lot of those come through this particular lot, but I've noticed that like if you're dealing with a specific lot that you've purchased, um, after a while you get a feeling like, okay, I'm not getting a lot of non-Lego in this, and I tend to start getting, I don't want to say lax, but I mean a little more loose with checking. I mean, there's some things I always check, but and then of course, obviously, there's ones you can just see and feel that you just know are not Lego, or pieces that are like a little beyond help, like that one I just saw. Like, okay, yeah, that goes in a bad spot. Um, but yeah, and then so sometimes you're like, okay, there's a lot of non-Lego in this. But I ran into a lot recently where I had like, oh, here's a Mega Blocks or whatever it was piece, and so I was a little more careful. And it was like, I think I went through probably 3 or 4 Ziploc bags full of stuff from this, and I only had like maybe 3 or 4 non-Lego pieces. It was like somebody else had actually sorted it and missed a couple. M38 Slew Band. Oh, is that what that is? I did not know. It's funny why they didn't just use SLU or something. I don't know. That's kind of weird. It's funny too because there's different types of clones or Flego, if you will. I like that term. Um, and because like there's the people that like are just right outright scummy people, like the whole people behind the well, I think Sluban is probably up there, but I don't recall for sure. But like the Lepen, where they were basically like, we're just making Lego pieces that don't say Lego on them and copying the instructions in the boxes and changing the words a little bit and producing our own thing. And then there's companies, and I think it's Kobe, I think, where they produce like tanks and military aircraft and stuff like that, things that Lego does not make. They make bricks that are compatible with Lego to make those sets, and it's their own designs. And to me, that is completely acceptable. I'm not going to obviously sell those pieces, but to me, as far as company ethics, that's much better off than stealing someone else's ideas. I think that's just deplorable. Opening for my store. I would like to get some pieces started to be put in inventory by mid-May, um, but that might get pushed a little bit. The store, I mean, I think I would like to get those 1,500 piece sets sorted and into inventory before I actually open. And when I do actually open, it's going to be a soft open. I'll probably be doing it with a password initially. And that's basically going to be to start making sure my order processes are right, let people come in and take a look at the terms and conditions and that sort of thing, which I have to work on what I'm going to put and what I'm going to write in those. Um, I also would like to get graphics done before I actually open the store. I'd like to open with graphics, which I have a whole list of graphic needs that I need to get on top of. And that goes from Bricklink and Brickowl and YouTube and Discord. And I mean, I think I can't remember. Did I grab I grabbed a Twitter, and I think I have an Instagram account with the same name. And so I want to basically be able to have cohesive graphics through everything. So it kind of makes sense. Oh yeah, the coat. Yeah. Well, then what was that? Oh, and then there's another company on the site. It's Lebo, Lebo. Oh my gosh, those are difficult to tell the difference. You really have to be careful on those. And it's like when I found one, I was like, oh, I have to be really careful with the rest of this lot because the the Lebo is just so hard to see the difference. Because like Le, you think, oh, I'm done, and there's an O at the end, right? Nope, that was tough. I've also considered I would strange segue, I guess. Well, it kind of makes sense. I would like to have a collection of 2x4 bricks by other companies, um, just so that I have reference points. I guess it's the old adage, know your enemy, perhaps. But yeah. So at some point, I'll be kind of saving some 2x4 bricks from other companies. The nice thing too is like I plan on doing some building of some things coming forward. I want to do some GBC modules, I think. And so a lot of the pieces that I'm pulling that I'm not going to sell are perfectly acceptable to build with. And so that I would probably be pulling from a lot of those. And I think my childhood slash earlier adulthood pieces that are sorted, I'm probably not going to integrate those into the store initially. I may later, but for the time being, those will remain separate as well. I think I'm more excited about the grand opening. I think I'm more nervous about all the stuff that I have to do to get to that point. If that makes any sense. I mean, because I have in the past, I've sold stuff on eBay and Amazon before. I have experienced shipping things. Um, that's not an issue for me. I have some ideas on how I would like to set up like a shipping station. I really like what Evan did there for just a brick in the bucket there. Very dedicated shipping area, and I don't think that mine would be quite as organized as that per se, but I definitely want to have some organization. I also need to get a label printer or a mailing label printer, and I'm really leaning towards looking into the wireless one that they just came out with recently, because I'm going to have need to be able to print labels from more than one place. So yeah. Here's an interesting thing, JB, and some people don't realize this. Most of the Lego stores sell the motors individually, but they're in like just it's like a little Ziploc, well, not Ziploc. It's like a poly bag, but not even as nice as a poly bag. And they're held behind the counter. So you just go into the Lego store and ask if they have any motors for sale, and they usually will have it there at the counter, like tucked away somewhere. You have to ask for it. And I know when we did the show previous to Brick Universe, when I was manning the GBC tables, I told a couple of people that you can get the motors right there in the Lego store. You just have to ask. Um, they don't. I think it's more of a theft thing. They don't want to just put them out because they're so small. I mean, they don't have a big box or anything. Although I have to say, I think most of their boxes are oversized. They don't really need to be as big as they are, and that's been the case for decades. I mean, some of the sets that I got recently in those hauls, the classic space stuff, those boxes did not need to be that big at all, but it's just the way they've almost always been, it seems. Oh, really? They've had them on the shelf. That's interesting. But yeah, you can get that stuff there. I mean, it's useful to have the train control, the one with the dial, because then you can slow down the motors by just turning the dial, or speed it up, because sometimes you need to do that as well. But I don't think it's expressly needed to do that. I'm not a very engineering minded person, so my challenge with that is not going to be so much designing the idea of the ball moving, but it's getting the gearing to work to get it to work at a speed that makes sense for the ball, so they're not flying all over the place or taking a million years to traverse like a foot. But that's kind of what I'm thinking is that's going to be the. But yeah, I've got a couple of ideas for that. I've actually ordered some pieces for that sort of thing. It was in my bricks and pieces order that I opened not that long ago. I got some of those Friends tubing pieces that like their minifig slide type things, and I got some of those because I figured, a ball could travel downward through those. So, yeah, well, that might work for sure. You might want to look at JB. You might want to look at other sets that have the powered up, unless you just particularly want to train for some reason. Because I know there's other sets that have the powered up. There's some Technic ones, and I think there's like a race car type thing. It might also still be Technic, but it might end up being less expensive. But I mean, you certainly might just want to train, and I get that too. But yeah, I like having this light right here. It's one, it charges my phone. The base charges my phone, but it's it's a nice bright light. It's an LED light, so I can check the condition, and it's easier to see. My eyesight is not what it once was. I'm wearing basically reading glasses for the first time in my life. So yeah, they're just like dollar store plus 1.25 glasses that the eye doctor said, well, I can write you a prescription, but this is just as easy to do, and it's going to be cheaper. Oh my, the cat's knocked an entire shelf over. Well, we'll have to go and clean that up later. I hope you guys are proud of yourself. A whole bunch of stuff got in the shelf. Basically, the shelf was like this, and they got up on it, and they went, whoop, and then everything on the shelf came off along with the cats, and they went running. They get into everything, but they're cats. That's their job. Oh, a train for Go Western. Yep. And of course, I'm sure the Lone Ranger train didn't have a powered up type function, so that's not really an option, and probably be cost prohibitive as well. It's probably up there in price. The other thing I do too is I have these little Acro Mills drawers up in the front. You can't see any right there, but they're right here. And I put some categories in these because I can't physically reach all my categories the way I have them set up from where I sit. So I put them in the Acro Mills drawer things that are loose. And then when this gets full, I will basically go and dump it in the spot that it belongs. Normally, some of those back there, those are on the table behind me, but I have the laptop on the table behind me at the moment, so I move those over there. But yeah, I basically just go through and put stuff in like this. 7 people. So like this piece, it's got a little bit of scuffing on it, but it doesn't look horrible. And it's going to go down there for the time being. We'll see if it stays there. Oh, bought it, never built it, sold it when it went back to college. Yeah, I hear that. I sold a lot of stuff at one point when I was living in Illinois. Money was tight, and I just basically had to try to generate some money. I had bought with a Barnes and Noble discount, the 10% card. I had purchased one of the architecture sets, and it's the one that nobody can pronounce. It's like Sungayingaminyan or something like that. And I'm sorry, it's just not natural for me to try to pronounce that. But I had bought one of those, and I think it actually was. I got an extra discount because the box is a little damaged. So it's like a $50 set. I want to say I paid like 35 bucks for it, and I held it for a while. It was intent to be part of my collection. And when I sold it, I think it was over $200 I got for it. It just was so underproduced. I have replaced it now through a Goodwill auction sometime last year, but I mean, I'm pretty sure it cost me like over $100 to get it back. So I guess my net spending is still I made money on the set, but yeah, I certainly get that. And it's like these classic space sets that I've gotten recently blown me away. Completely surprised me on those. I did not expect that. And then going back on Wednesday and finding two more big ones, that it just completely floored me. I've never had anything like that. Well, I've had similar things happen, but nothing quite like that. Years ago, again in Illinois, went into a thrift store, and there was two clear totes, and then they had the box for the original Star Destroyer that also had pieces in it. And it was clear that the clear totes had pieces for the Star Destroyer as well. So I bought both of the clear totes and that box, which I still have. It's pretty beat up, but I still have it. And it was about 120 bucks total. And then when I went to start trying to put together the Star Destroyer, I mean, first I realized I was missing magnets, and that's how the wing, the outer panels attach. So it wasn't really going anywhere. But the big thing is in sorting through it all, I found the display plaque for the Death Star, and I started realizing that some of the pieces in there was also a Death Star in there too. So I picked up most of a Star Destroyer and a Death Star for about 120 bucks, and that was probably like 8 years ago. So that was pretty good. But yeah, I mean, I think we've all had different points where we've had some sort of a good deal pop up on us. I actually have a separate bin for non-Lego pieces, and it's getting to the point where I really need to take it and empty it. I'll probably do that after the stream because there's just not much room left in it. Yeah, see, now that piece, that's a little too worn. We're not going to sell that. Let's see if I can show it. I mean, it's not a bad piece by any means. Let's see. But there's just some, it's not going to focus. How about if I put my hand in front of it again? But right on the edges, there's just enough little nicks and stuff on the two main edges there that I just felt like it wasn't quite an acceptable piece. I mean, if I reached into my bin to build something and I needed this, I'd probably use it. But it's just outside of what I think I would normally sell. Yeah, I mean, it was one of the architecture sets, JB, if that's what you're asking about. But I mean, it was kind of like that. Just right place, right time. I mean, that's what it always comes down to: right place, right time. That classic space stuff that I got now. Just if I had basically, I think I had about a 3 minute window, 3 to 5 minute window that I needed to be at the store for everything to align correctly for me to be able to purchase them, and I hit it right on the nose, and you have no way of knowing ahead of time. 2 bins for damaged pieces, buildable and very broken. Yeah, definitely. And it's funny because I've often thought that I could build like a town / city mock that was actually like a junkyard, and I could make use of a bunch of broken pieces by putting them in the junkyard. Will I ever get to it? Don't know, but it's an idea I've had for quite a long time. I don't think that's Lego, but I also have another bin over here of stuff that I'm not sure if it's a Lego, although there's at least one piece in it that I now know is Lego, but I haven't fished all of them out yet. See, I don't know. That one's questionable. And it's really like the lighting too. Is like if I didn't have this nice light here, I would be passing a lot more bricks onto the sales stage. And they're gonna have to get filtered out eventually. I really liked what uh, Evan and Paul were talking about on their live stream. I watched you guys' live stream. If you're still here, I watched you guys' live stream a couple of nights ago while I was sorting, and I felt bad because I kept wanting to like make comments. I'm like, oh, it's not really live. But I really like what you said about like doing a first pass, and then the cursory sort, and then there's the first sort that goes out to the sorters, and then there's the B sort, and then there's the catalogers. And each one of them has an opportunity and are encouraged to pull pieces they feel are not sellable. And I'm also assuming that you get those back because you have to weigh things. I think that's how you do it. And then you can also double check them and say, oh, well, this is actually okay. This is Lego, or yeah, this is crap. We don't want to sell this. So, I really like that idea that everybody is kind of responsible for paying attention to that. I think that's important. I've had a similar idea. My very broken parts I call the Apocalypse Collection. Yes, you've mentioned it on your videos. I figured I could build a post-apocalyptic mock. Yes, that's a great idea. I like that idea. We had so when we did Brick Universe this last weekend, one of the members brought a couple of small, like a shoebox or a little bit larger than a shoebox worth of loose pieces, and basically allowed kids to make stuff. He had like these sheets of paper. They could name their creation and leave it on this open part of table he had. And he had so much fun doing that. And I think we definitely need to continue doing that. That was a great idea. And it was perfect too, because he was like the first table that most of the kids saw when they came into the larger display area. There was a couple of the traveling artists had their designs just before that, and then there was a wall, like a curtain wall, on two sides with a walkway in the middle, and he was right at that walkway part, so the kids would walk in and see that. And so he had quite a few little things people had built by the end of the weekend. I do have my zombie figure that's pieced together from a broken skeleton and a scientist torso. Well, that's kind of neat. Yeah, that one we're going to reject too. So some of these are just so close that it's just like, yeah, I could probably sell it. Maybe not, I don't know. I remember when the masonry bricks were brand new, and they were like all the rage. And now, when I scoop up from a loose pile, I almost have one or two masonry bricks in every scoop. They're much more common now. But yeah, I still remember when those were like the newest rage. Oh, horrible piece. Yep, the masonry brick's pretty cool. I know at one point I looked on Bricks and Pieces to see if the new white ones were available, and I don't think they were. Hopefully that'll change at some point. Does anybody have any particular questions or comments that I could then comment on? if you're still here, Evan, I certainly feel your pain about not sure what to talk about. At least you have the bonus of having somebody else there with you that you can like bounce ideas off of, or you can riff or something like that. I'm feeling like I should be saying something sometimes, and I'm not sure what to say. Well, that didn't work out too well. Much like these pieces that I just pulled a couple up off of something that was partially built. The 1x1 round plate with the hole in it. I think the first set I was aware of that being in was the Lincoln Memorial, the architecture set. Watched your video earlier about the models at the convention. Are you going back tomorrow? Did you display or just go as a viewer? I did display. That was Brick Universe, and that was last Saturday and Sunday. The lug that I'm a member of, a Lego user group, we got into the facility on Friday to set up. And so I was able to set up Friday night, and then I went back Saturday, had the whole day with the crowds there, and it was really, really busy. A lot of us were surprised at how busy it was. Even some of the traveling people were like, whoa, we thought, Rochester would be much smaller. We are actually had more attendance than some cities twice our size. And we think that's partially because as a lug, we pushed it on our website and that sort of thing. We talked it up with people at a number of our events over the last few months. So yeah, we think that we definitely helped with that. We're looking forward to having them come back. And then I went back Sunday, and then we broke down Sunday night. But yeah, I had a great time doing that. An original question: what's your favorite set? Well, my first set 442 Space Shuttle. That very, very near and dear to my heart. And I'll just mention it here. If anybody comes across a sealed copy of set 442 Space Shuttle, I might be interested in purchasing that. If it's not sealed, I have two that are, with box and instructions, and I probably don't need another one at this point. But if you find a sealed one, we could talk. But otherwise, I have different favorite sets for different types of things. I like the architecture line. I like a lot of the UCS sets, whether they're Star Wars or not. Although Star Wars is near and dear to my heart as well. I kind of got into Star Wars and Lego at relatively the same time. I got my first set in '78. Star Wars started in '77, and I'm not even sure I saw it that first year. I was so young. It might have been the summer afterwards before I saw it. So, yeah, they're very closely tied together for me. Let's see. You get rolling with organizing all the inventory for the store and get rolling. Yeah, it's going to happen. And things are going to start to move a little quicker now that the basement's done. Brick Universe is over with. I do have a couple more obligations for the 500 subscribers. I've got the room tours that I've got to film, which are still going to be a little awkward because the rooms are kind of tight, hard to get around in. But we'll do it. And then I got organizational things to do in the basement, but we're getting much closer, and I'm happy about that. Do you have a Lego City, or it's all this for like? It's pretty much going to be for sale. I don't have a city at the moment. I would like to build the modulars. I have most of the modular buildings, and I have an idea for a city type display, but it's going to be a little different than most cities people have done. I don't want to say any more than that at this point, but I do have an idea for that. So that might also occur in the basement. The basement should have enough room to do both. I just played Victor Universe when they were in Louisville. Very nice. Great. Yeah, Grayson. Yeah, it seemed like a nice guy. I didn't talk to him much directly. He was a little difficult in communicating with before the show. We would, getting a hold of him initially was very difficult. The interface from the Brick Universe site is basically either you want to sell stuff there or you're just some guy that wants to get a table and put some stuff that he built up on. It was very difficult to get a hold of him to say, hey, we're an entire lug. We'd like to get this plan together. And once we finally did that, then the people who got a hold of him, but I tried messaging it a couple of ways and got no answer. So yeah, I'm sure he's just very busy and gets lots of messages. No, I don't think I'm planning on ending it anytime soon. We're up to 11 people, so that's pretty good. Space shuttle armor. You know, JB, I've considered that. I've also considered doing the exact same thing Brixar did and doing a plus size space shuttle, but the figure in like a larger size and like some of those pieces would be very difficult to do in a larger size, like the gun that they have on the top of the jumper plate and the edged or the angled wings. It just I'm sure it could be done. It's just going to be a little more. I mean, granted, the tipper itself was probably pretty difficult. So I mean, but it's something I've considered. I just don't want to copy, him in everything he's doing. So, but yeah, I've considered something like that. Yes, be kind all the time. Hello. I'm not on. I think I need to. I think I would like to film them all before I decide which one I'm going to do first, or I need to think about it a little bit more because they kind of have. I mean, each room is going to have several themes in it. And I might even talk about how I originally had stuff set up, although it's probably not all that interesting. And I basically, when I had to then further break it down when I had to start using the third bedroom because of space considerations. But I would like to say, I mean, today's Friday, sometime next week, hopefully I'll be able to get that out. But yeah, because they're probably going to be pretty long videos. So I'm going to need to make sure that I have plenty of time to film them, so I can't have other stuff going on time-wise. And I'll also need to, upload them and then do the editing that needs to be done, which isn't really that difficult once it's uploaded. Just the longer the video, the longer it takes to upload for sure. And if they're long enough, maybe I'll do them as premieres too, and maybe actually have it be at my own premiere this time, since I kind of messed that one up last time I tried doing it. But yeah, that's kind of my thought process for that. Man, there's been a lot of really messed up Palisade brick in this particular lot. That's unfortunate. I mean, I don't know, maybe it's not worth a lot, but I don't like to see any pieces not be able to be used because they're in bad shape. I could probably come up with a list of favorite sets by theme at some point too. I mean, I have to think about it. I really like architecture and the ideas stuff. Now, the ideas is quite a wide range of topics and sets and things. And while there's a couple that I don't particularly like in the ideas, I do have them all at the moment, I think. Unless there's a brand new one that I've missed, I'd have to double check that. And like some of the older architecture, because they don't have the interiors, they're not quite as interesting. I think I could see easily trying to make them with interiors to make them a little more interesting. I think the globe is really a cool idea for a set. They're definitely going in different directions than they have in a long time. I mean, it's not an idea set, but like the Titanic, another great idea for a set. I know that a number of the knockoff brands have done Titanics. So, I mean, there's also this, I think that shattered an idea I had at one point, which was like, they might be less willing to do a set if one of their competitors has already done it. And I think now that's probably less of an issue. Although I think they want to make sure that when they do it, they do it right and they do it really cool. Because I think, and again, I'm not really sure, but from what little I've seen of some of the other versions, they don't like open up and show you an interior cross section like the Lego Titanic does. And I don't think any of them are of the same scale as the Lego Titanic. missing the cafe corner, Green Gosher, Market Street, and Fire Brigade buildings. I don't know if I do have duplicates of those or not. I'll be honest. I can't really assess that at the moment because, like, the area I have used stuff in one of the bedrooms is kind of inaccessible. Um, like everything is like the rooms are so full that like I'm now putting sets in other places, so themes are separated now. Like I'm looking right now at a pile that's got Harry Potter, Jurassic World promos, Ninjago, I already said Harry Potter. There's some Marvel stuff over there, some city stuff, Batman, and it's all there because they really don't have room in the bedroom for it. And then there's stuff in this other place that I'm looking at where, and it, I have too much in all likelihood. So yeah, it's one of those things. Oh nah, he does so much more. I mean, he's part of the land now, and gets the preview sets, and I think I mean, I haven't looked back to see what his early videos are like, but I mean, I don't feel like I'm as well spoken as he is as far as um, not stumbling or not having a clear idea of what you're going to say before you start saying it. I think a lot of his videos, where I don't think they're necessarily scripted, I think he really has an outline of what he wants to say in them, which is great. And I've only seen a couple of his live streams. I do know he just tore down everything he did in his basement and he reorganized the layout. I think from what little bit I saw, because I don't watch his stuff religiously or anything, but from some of the things I have seen, it looks like he probably set up the tables down there to have better access underneath throughout all of them, because he really had kind of shut out some access for himself because he had so much table and then no way to get to the underside of it. And that's a challenge. You need to be able to get around. But thank you. I appreciate the thought. Um, it is. It's been a long time. I mean, I went back and looked, and my first video went up November 1st of 2020, which is kind of interesting because I think I did that. There was a couple of videos that just showed like the basement and the bedroom where I was staying at the time, and then I closed on the house on November 3rd that year, and then November 5th is when the guys showed up to start doing the demo in the basement. And it's probably the biggest regret I have is not doing a video of the basement before they started working. I have a video after every day they worked, but I didn't take one of like the complete before. And so like that's probably the biggest regret I have looking back, that I missed that, because you don't quite have the full picture of what it looked like before, although it's pretty close. Because they did a lot that first day, just tearing stuff out. I don't know if there's a way for you to check that, how long you've been subscribed. I know that when I see people's comments, some of them have like a little symbol after them. And so I think when I've hovered over it, it says that they've publicly been subscribed to me for X months. So if you have one of those symbols after your name on one of my videos, you might be able to find out that way. But I don't know what they mean by publicly subscribed to me, because there's plenty of people that I'm pretty sure are subscribed and they don't have that notation. So it might be that they haven't, they don't have because when you look at somebody's information, there's like the videos tab, and if they don't have any videos, it's blank. And then there's one of the last couple of tabs is channels, I think it's called, and it shows what channels somebody has subscribed to. And like, so like I'll sometimes look and say, oh, there I am, I'm subscribed, I can see. But I think if you don't have that enabled, it might not be considered that you're publicly subscribed to me, and so then it wouldn't include that public note. But that's just a guess. I really don't know. I'm kind of flying by the seat of my pants with all the YouTube stuff, to be honest. I don't really have a firm grasp of 100% what I'm doing. Like this whole live stream, I had to like redo the whole stream because it didn't seem to want to start correctly. I think I have an idea what the problem is, and I will see if I can fix that going forward for the next time I schedule a live stream. And we'll see if I can fix it that way. Here, I'll throw out a question to everybody out there. Do you have a favorite Lego color? And there's no right or wrong answer. I'm just curious. I believe you were, JB. I believe so. Well, it's funny too because ever since, well, kind of always, but like once I got to like 185 or so, I or not 485 or so, I was paying even closer attention to the uh, subscriber levels. And even before that, I had noticed that like I'd go up two or three and drop one, and I go up two or three and drop one, and it was like I had gotten to 509 not long after I got to 500. And I think part of that might have been Brick Universe because when I put the little cards out that gave the name of the display piece, my name, I also put my YouTube channel on it. But I think some people may have joined from that, but and then somebody left, and I was just like, okay, and I get that, and people they're going to come and they're going to go. Um, what has amused me most is if you look at the most recent video I made where I talked about what the prizes were for the 500 subscribers, which is a plug. If you don't realize there's a contest for 500 subscribers, you should go check the channel and find that. But somebody has disliked that video, and I was just like, so somebody doesn't like free stuff, I guess. I wasn't really sure I could understand why that was the way it was. And I've noticed other times where it seems to be like I'll get two or three videos in a row where it has one dislike, and I'm just like, is somebody just showing up every once in a while and disliking two or three of my videos or what? It's kind of funny. I mean, and I get it. Like, if they don't like it, they don't like it. I would rather they spend the time saying they don't like it than just ignoring it because at least it shows me something. But I guess I was just extra surprised that they wouldn't like something for free. Yeah, they don't really do numbers, I guess. Be kind. All right, be kind. Dark red and nougat colors, and dark orange. Yeah, I like a lot of the colors too. I mean, I'm not sure that I always have any kind of favorite, but um, it sounds like you like some of the earth tones for sure. Yeah, and I think it's even simpler than hating. I think it's just like, oh no, we're just going to dislike this because we don't want somebody to have like good stuff, or I mean, maybe in some cases they really didn't like things, and I get that too. That's fine. It's just again surprising to me. JB, if you're still here, you said you were sorting used. Are you sorting like bulk into main categories, or are you sorting down a category at the moment? Dark turquoise gang, yes, of course. And I see you are still here. Shorts are pretty much my only videos that get disliked now that the dislikes are hidden. I don't know how they do it then, because I mean, most of my videos, I mean, I do some shorts, but I get dislikes on everything. So I'm not sure how they are doing that if they're hidden. I'm about to start bag set 8 of the Titanic. Oh, very nice. You picked up the Titanic. That's awesome. And that's 8 out of what, about 70? I don't know. I'm just guessing. Bulk to basic categories. There you go. That's what I'm working on. Bulk to basic categories. Now, are you running off of David's categories, or did you modify something else, or how are you doing that, JB? Of course, now I'm taking you away from sorting because you're actually having to answer me. Well, you don't have to answer me. I guess you could just keep me wondering. Oh, okay. It doesn't show the number of dislikes publicly, but it allows you to dislike something. It just doesn't show the number. I gotcha. Okay. Pick a brick stuff. Yeah. I have. So here's an interesting thing. If you get a full, well, be kind. Let me know when you're back, and then I'll say something. Remind me. I got something to say about pick a brick. Yeah, and I've done the same thing. Like, I mean, David's a great guy. Don't get me wrong. I still don't understand why he had one by one round plate as an entire category of its own. It boggles my mind. I can't even imagine how long it would take for me to fill a gallon Ziploc bag of those. It would just be like a long time. I don't think, because I think I've only filled rounds twice, maybe three times. And yeah, there's a lot of small ones, but there's a lot more of the, well, I don't know about a lot more, but there's a lot of the big ones, and they take up a lot of space. So I don't really see. So I folded one by one round plate into round. Also, his the smooth category, or what does he call that? Um, it's the one that's got the cheese slope in it. He also had the one that basically looks like a 1x2 plate with a cheese slope on one side and a stud behind it. And it's the only piece in that category that has a stud. So I moved that out of that category and put it in with just small slopes, or maybe it's just regular slopes. Yeah, regular slopes. And then I moved into that category. There's one that's like almost the opposite of that, but not quite. And it's like a cap piece. It's like got a flat tile and then an angle type piece that goes down, but there's no studs on it. So that category for me is all studless. And that's what I did. I also canned the category that had all the bars. Bars now go to Technic, with the exception of it's basically a lightsaber hilt or a wand. Those bars go to minifigure parts. I also put steering wheels to minifigure parts, and I put um, all the firing missiles, like the old rubber tipped ones or just the more slender ones. Those all go to minifigure parts. And I also what was and I do have a separate category for brick separators, but it's kind of like it doesn't really belong in any category in some way. So it actually has, I put it in a red bin. It's got a whole different colored bin for brick separators. I was originally thinking red bin for non-Lego, but I put the brick separators in there for the time being. But yeah, I don't. I've done some changes like that. Um, I think there's even some other things that I've done that are kind of subtle differences. But I do like a lot of what he's done. Don't get me wrong; it's great work, and it certainly is better than inventing the wheel yourself. And I know, whenever I mention it, I will try to credit him with that. At some point, I'm going to have a friend of mine actually modify images so that when I have other people sorting, I don't have to like try to give them all the exceptions to all the rules that are posted on the slips of paper. Like, okay, here's the rules, but then don't do this and don't do this and don't do this. I don't want to do that. I'd like to just say this is the way you do it, and this is the way you do it. So now that piece I've discovered is not Lego. Do you find you're getting enough eyes in your bulk lots, JB, for your brickies? Oh, this is a good one. So this Lego bulk that I've been going through had a spaceship in it. I could tell because it was partially built, but then I keep finding pieces with the uh, Classic Space logo on it that are sticker form and that sort of thing. That I know they didn't do stickers in the old types. I've split slopes between regular slopes and curved slopes. I also have a lot of the old style hinges with the 2 and 3 fingers, so I made that a small cut as well. Yeah, those all go. The hinge ones with the fingers go to Technic for me at this point, and the slopes. I mean, I've got some of the slopes end up in wedges because they're kind of wedgy type things. I need to carefully look at those 2 categories and make a firm decision as to what goes where, because I feel like there's a few pieces that go in one place or the other depending upon how I feel. Yeah, so this is the thing I discovered with, if you buy a full pick-a-brick and it's full, it will very nicely fit into a quart-sized Ziploc bag. And so what I've started doing is I basically opened up all my pick-a-brick cups and dumped them into quart-sized Ziplocs. I have those in a paper shopping bag now, or actually some of them, and I put all the cups into a tote because they were just taking up too much room as the cups. And the quart Ziplocs, you can kind of mesh them relatively flat and then stack them too wide in the paper bag, and then that's how I'm storing them for the time being. That's too bad. Maybe you should make Bricky a custom thing and put them in your store for like a 0 cost with a limit of 1. And so people will maybe order him, and then that'll remind you to make them. Yeah, it's just kind of convenient storage thing. And if you need to pour them out, I thought at first I was going to need a whole gallon bag because I thought it wasn't going to fill it, but I didn't think it was going to fit in a quart, but they actually do. I was quite surprised. And actually, there's a little room left. I mean, if you take a pick-a-brick cup, and unless you're actually clicking pieces together and then take them apart later to put them in a Ziploc, then they might not fit. But I mean, I don't click my pieces together in the store because then they're not new. But yeah, when I shake the cups down and get them just as packed as I can, and then all that will still end up in a quart-sized Ziploc bag quite easily. I know we got up to 11 people at one point, so it's dropped back off. But that's okay. If people are still okay hanging out, we'll hang out. Going back to the favorite colors, I tend to like the sand colors: sand blue, sand red, sand purple. Um, in normal terms, purple is one of my favorite colors, but I'm not as big a fan of some of the Lego purples. And I'm not sure 100% why that is, but yeah, not as big a fan in some ways. Whoa. That's not Lego. Is there an old purple? I'm not aware of that. I'd have to look into that. I'm just more familiar with like the more recent Friends sets, purples and lavenders and lilacs or whatever they're calling them. Oh wow. There, I just found a 2x2 blue brick. It's not even Lego. It has an NBA sticker on it. And it was in really bad shape on top of it. I have to admit, there's some pieces I don't try checking to see if it's Lego or not because they're just pieces that I don't feel have been made by a knockoff company, and I realize that's probably a bad way to look at it. But especially some of the Technic, it's just so odd that I just don't see it happening. I also have a small garbage can next to my feet with basically non-Lego, non-building brick, random pieces of plastic, like plastic toys and stuff that just get put down there. Dark purple and the lavenders. The old purple is just called purple. Reminds me of the paper cup designs from the 90s. Huh. I'll have to look into that. Wow. Maybe it doesn't bode well for the rest of this bulk lot if I found this guy. He looks kind of scary and kind of lame at the same time. Looks like he looks like a Mexican wrestler. I forget what they call those. There's a specific term. Anyway, he's going to go down into aforementioned plastic, not building toy, not Lego spot. Lunchador. Huh. Is it like the name of Mexican wrestlers in general, or is that like his specific name? See, this is kind of what I imagined a purple being, but I don't know if I would have called this an old purple. I also don't know if it's really the color is coming across on the camera well. Yeah, in general. Okay. Pinker tinge, right? Like Barney, I guess. Yeah, I will have to look into that. So here's an interesting question for those people who are still here that sort used. Um, so like if you have a category for tile, which I'm assuming most people do. Oh, don't worry about it. It's all right, Evan. I did you hear me mention that I did watch your live stream from last weekend, but it was a couple of days ago? I basically I kept thinking I wanted to make a comment and I realized, oh wait a minute, it's not live. Um, but no, so when you're sorting used, I'm assuming most people have a tile category or however they do it, tile is dealt with. But when I'm sorting, I also put the underside tiles. So they actually have studs, but then the bottom is a tile. I put those in the tile category. So it's kind of one of those things where I can say, oh, here's the tile category. There's no studs on these pieces, except for these pieces, which are under tiles. So it's like one of those things that like it it gets confusing, but once you understand the logic for it, I think it makes a lot of sense. Yeah, it's just like so. So Evan, now are you using like your own categories completely? Did you modify David's or someone else's? I can't remember what you said in your live stream. What you're doing specifically. You tell contractors no studs in the tile categories except those that do, like 2x2 round boat pieces. No studs in the tile category except 2x2 round boat pieces. I don't know what 2x2 round boat pieces are offhand. I'll have to think about that. Yeah. So, like in David's, and I mentioned this earlier while you were probably away, he has a category that's 1x1 round plate. And that's all that's in it is 1x1 round plate. And I couldn't understand why. I mean, I moved it into round, like with 2x2 round plate and such. And even if I had its own category, I don't think I would have filled up a bag of it yet. And maybe it's just because there's be so much of it, but I'm just like, it didn't make any sense to me to have its entire own category. It just, to me, it didn't. So I don't. Putting them in modified plates. Only because I put a bunch in at first and have it down sort of. Okay. Round 2x2 inverted. Oh, the one, yeah, we're right. Okay. They got the curve at the bottom. I got you. Yeah, those go in with tiles as well for me. Perfect example. But I was thinking of the 2x2 square ones. It's basically, it is a tile. It's flat, not curved, although I still put the curved ones in there too. But it goes underneath things to make them flat. So yeah. Small plate counter, which is all 1x1, including round and those with clips, etc. Oh, interesting. So, and he's in this 1x1. Is it 1x1? Okay, 1x1 plates would have clips. It would be 1x1 rounds, 1x1 squares. Do cheese slopes go there? Yeah, you kind of have to just get somebody used to it. I think if you want to have, no, I mean, obviously, I'm not telling people how to do it, but for me, if I'm going to have somebody not sort on premises, I think I'd rather have them sort some here so that I'm here to answer questions and then send them away at some point. Cheese slopes is our small slopes category, which is anything less than the thickness of a brick. Does it have to be completely less than the thickness of a brick or just part of it less than the thickness of a brick? Because, there's like the 1x2 slopes that start off brick height and go down to not brick height. Large slopes, if anything, is thick or thicker than a brick. Okay. That certainly makes sense. Let's go in large brick, 1x2 slopes at brick height. Interesting. Okay. So here, where would this one go? Would this go in brick? Or let me see if I can. Or would it go in plate? Because I think it's technically brick height, but not at any one spot. Because I mean, the whole height of it is a brick, but in any one spot, it's only like 2 plates thick. Small slopes. Okay, interesting. Large slopes category will might need to find a way to separate it in the A sort phase. We'll say. Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah, I think for me, my worst 2 categories to sub, not including minifigure. That's a separate beast in itself. But I think the worst categories to move past what I'm doing now are going to be modified plate because there's a crap ton of stuff that's in there, and Technic because not only is Technic in there, but so is Bionicle, and I put all the rods in there and a lot of other little weird doodaddy things all end up down in Technic. Let's see. What about those 1x2 triple slopes that come to a point in the middle? 1x2 triple slope. Oh, isn't it 1x3? I think. Maybe it's not a point in the middle. Interesting. All right. Yeah, it's interesting because there's certainly, a myriad number of ways that you can go about sorting the same group of pieces and get to the same effect, just in different ways. And I definitely think having different ways to do it is good. Two technicalities: a basic tech, which is pins, axles, bars, and bushings, and a general tech, which is lift arms, bionicle, etc. That's interesting. Yeah. Evan, were you here when I mentioned my idea about having some of the used sellers grade some traveling set of parts? Did you hear that whole idea? Yeah, that's kind of one of the reasons I've been sorting a bunch, because I wanted to start off with something which was David's, and then I kind of wanted to branch off from there and decide what worked for me and what didn't. All right, cool. You heard that. So yeah, that's something I thought I had that idea last night actually. Um, I know, Evan, you said now I think you're giving some of your contractors, they're getting loose bulk, but you've already been through it once because you're pulling minifig parts. Is that correct? Oh, no worries. Yeah, life of somebody who works in Hollywood. Of course, I realize he probably didn't hear that joke, but that's okay. uh, Here's an interesting little story. It's about a week ago. I got a message on Discord from Nikki, and he's, oh yeah, David told me that there's this piece you like that I ended up finding. So apparently he had found one of the clear shield pieces in a bulk lot, and he had just offhandedly mentioned it to David, and David's like, "Oh, Doug really likes that piece. You should see if he wants it." So he contacted me, and I said, "Oh yeah," but I realized they're probably pretty pricey, So what price are you asking for? And he said, "Well, I priced it at the lowest currently available, which was $24." And I was just like, "Yeah, I really do like the piece, but $24 is probably a little steep for me. Thanks." And then I ended up, buying the one set at Goodwill that had two of them in it. The one set that it came in for $5.99. Well, at what point are you going to be able to finish, JB? I mean, it seems like you had a lot. Oh, no problem. What did you cook? And is that, would I say Axio? Would that be the name, or is it AX10 or 10? I don't know. I like Axio. I don't know if that's right or not. Yeah, it was pretty sweet. So I at least have, I think at this point, 5 or 6 of them, maybe 7, somewhere in my collection. I mean, I have my original 2. I've got those 2, and I'm pretty sure it was 2 or 3. Axiomatic. Okay, cool. Half a shoebox to go, but it's all small parts. Oh yeah, those. That's kind of, yeah. Do you reach in picking for specific types of parts to do that, or do you like pull out a small handful and sort those? In case it is nice. I stopped and got takeout here because I knew I had this coming up and I didn't want to deal with anything else. Oh, let's see. Zayan, hello. How you doing? Did you just wake up? ADHD version of sorting. Start going for one type, then get distracted by another one, and end up throwing one piece at a time into a bunch of categories. Yeah, I try to do one category, pulling them out, and then but then oftentimes I'll reach for one and always something else, and then I kind of what I do is I'll pick with one hand to put it when it's little pieces like that. Pick with one hand, put it in the other hand, and then when I finally pick something else that's not the same, I'll take what's in my hand, put it in the right category, and then start going off whatever that other category is, and kind of flip flop around. And it's funny too because I'll like, okay, I'm going to do let's say snot, and I'll like, let me search for all the snot, and it's not even like the pieces are buried. I'm like, there's one, there's one. I think I got them all, and then like I end up finding 2 or 3 more as I'm sorting everything else. I'm like, how did I miss those the first time? Leaf Hunter, hey, how you doing? No, we're back up to 10. It's going up and down for sure. Not doing too bad here. Just been having some fun for an hour and 45 minutes. Well, that was after 10 to 15 minutes of pain trying to get the stream started. I ended up just starting a new stream and canceling the old one. So yeah, I chalk it up to user error. I don't know what I'm doing. Yep, print the labels for the orders. Well, good. I'm glad that we're here long enough for you to make it in that case. Although I certainly understand the value of wanting to sleep in and get the rest. I know over the weekend with Brick Universe, it was difficult to get myself moving all the time. I mean, I did it, but kind of didn't want to. I mean, it was fun. I enjoyed it, but sleep, you know. Actually, I had less sleep between Friday and Saturday than I did between Saturday and Sunday. and I was dragging a little bit. But then Saturday night, when I found the classic space stuff at the thrift store, that kind of invigorated me, and I felt pretty good on Sunday. Of course, I had more sleep too, but and let me tell you, those I put the boxes out on the table, and then I started building the small ones. And so many people, older people like myself, just the nostalgia factor. Like I had that set, or I had those two, or whatever. And it's just like it was really fun to have that experience. Yeah, burning the candle at both ends like that, JB. Just be careful. I know you probably do a fair amount of driving too, so I know I always worry for myself about driving if I haven't had enough rest. I have in the past, yes. Be kind. I have participated in that in the past. Yeah. Well, I just thought of something different too. I think, JB, I think we were talking about this some, is modifying David's categories. Another thing I did is, how there's the, I think he's got it in with miscellaneous or something like that. It's like a grill piece. It's a 1x2, but like one end is a little higher than the other one. It slopes down. Um, a jumper category. Jumpers, yeah, I can see that. It goes, they all go with modified plate for me at the moment, which, like I said, modified plate's going to be a bear to downsort. But anyway, so I moved the 1x2 sloped grill pieces in with tile because the 1x2 non-sloped grill piece already was going to tile. So I'm just like, why should it not go to tile just because it's slightly sloped? I realize again, you could argue that it's not quite a tile, but it's close enough to the other piece. And it's just one of those things that like, it's the exception to the rule kind of thing. Small slopes. Yeah. To me, it was just like putting one kind to small slopes and one kind to tiles didn't make sense. So I put them the same. But again, it's just like, I could think it's useful to find out the differences that people do because it does a couple of things. One, it could give you an idea of something you could do yourself that maybe you didn't already do, or even if you didn't want to do it, it's something that's good to know because if you do have somebody sorting for you, they might make a decision like that, and it would be helpful for you to know ahead of time that that could happen, either to warn them against it or to figure out what happened when you're trying to figure it out. Like, what happened? Jumpers with tile. Interesting. Is it 1x2 jumpers only or also 2x2 jumpers? Yeah, I guess that could make some sense, not having to differentiate the sloped or non-sloped grills, 2x2 as well. How about the, I think it's a, was it 1x3 or 1x4 double jumper where it's got the two studs in the middle? Yeah, I put both. I also put both types of grills in with tie on myself. But jumpers to me still go to modified plate. Although here's another one that could be controversial. Controversial. The old hinge pieces. I have one within easy reach. I mean, I say old, but I'm sure they've been around more currently as well. There we go. So this kind of piece, I actually put these in with modified plate as well. Whether they've got the 2x2 on the top or the 1x2 at the top. And again, yes, it's brick height, but like I feel like the main business portion is more of a plate, and the other part is just the part that clips into that. So it's just the way I'm doing it. I mean, it could go with modified brick, I suppose, but then some of these, I think all the base ones are probably brick height, so it could go with modified brick. But then it's just like the top part. Sometimes they come separate. You just get the base or the top. So I mean, you got to make a choice one or the other. And I didn't want to pull them all apart and put like all the tops with plate and all the bottoms with brick. And to me, that seemed really unhelpful. So I didn't do that. Huh. I have no idea what this is, but it looks like it's made out of wood. Kind of a cool little thing. I don't at this stage. All I'm doing is sorting loose bulk. They may end up getting separated for sale, but at this point, I'm not separating them otherwise. Oh, okay. Well, okay, Leaf Hunter, you no problem about having to walk away, obviously, but then you said I don't separate those. Which of those are you referring to? Just to make sure that I'm answering the right question. Perhaps he have already answered it because he's giving me the thumbs up. Yeah, I've heard tell that there are the hinge plates. Yeah, at this point, I don't separate them as I'm sorting. I imagine down the road I would. I probably will. The ones I really don't like the idea of separating are the other types of hinge plates. Hang on a sec. If I find one of those, they're more rare. Basically, it's two 1x2 plates, but they hinge in a different direction. So if these were the two 1x2 plates, they basically attach with a little thing and they go like this. But they're just 1x2 on either side. Those I do not separate, and I don't think I probably will. I really worry that the connection point on those would get too loose by disconnecting them. I did it once, and then I couldn't get them back together. And I was just like, yeah, I don't know if I want to separate these. It was more of a test at that point to see what it was like. Yeah, I've heard people do though. I've heard that some sides sell better than just like the whole thing or whatever. I'm like, all the power to you, but I mean, there's certain things. Now, the other ones, the brick ones that are similar, those slide together pretty easily. I know I've sorted some recently, but I'm not seeing it over here right off. But anyway, yeah, the ones that are 2x2 brick, where they basically have cylinder connections, those I would separate it. I wouldn't have a problem with that. But yeah, the 1x2 plate ones, not a problem. Yeah, the pin in the hole, almost like a Technic connection in some ways. But yeah, the plate ones, I don't feel confident enough about their ability to go back together well. So, Leaf Hunter, I had this idea. I'll see what you think. Is one of the big questions that people have are what when they're selling used, especially when they're starting out, is what condition of a piece is acceptable to sell in used. And so the thought I had was I could get together a selection of 10, a dozen, 15, maybe even 20 pieces, preferably brick in size, but that's only more from a convenience thing. I would take a magic marker and number them all, 1 to 20 or however many it is. And then I would put a sheet of paper in with them and showing like 1, yes, I'd sell, 2, no, 3, no, however I would do it. And then I would take this packet and I would mail it to another used seller. And then the concept to be is we would mail it to a whole bunch of different used sellers and they'd all put their name and then have a different sheet in there so that basically we could compile a list of the conditions that people thought were acceptable to sell or not acceptable. And then if somebody wanted to say, can I get the traveling parts to get a look at what people are selling? And basically you just pay the postage to get it to you and then pay the postage to get it back. And then you could get an in-person site like, okay, here's your 10 or 12 different gradients of pieces, and this is what people would sell, and this is what people wouldn't. And I think that it could be useful, and it'd be kind of a neat thing to do and involve a whole bunch of people. I hear you, Kat. I know where you are. You're not supposed to be down there. Oh, here's another one for anybody who's still paying attention. This piece I put in with vehicle parts and other similar, like engine covering type things. I've got a whole category for vehicle parts, which is like wheels and tires, mud guards, propellers. I also put windscreens in there, plus like the underside of the windscreens that are usually solid color. All goes to one category. Curved slopes, yeah, I can see that too. Again, just different ways of doing stuff. I hear you down there, Pango. So I have the basement cover mostly in place, but the first flap is open because I have a wall down there now, so I don't have to have the cats not go down there. But now they've taken to going down there, laying on the floor outside the door, and then reaching under the door to try to open it, and then meowing incessantly. So yeah, maybe it wasn't the best of idea overall, but I couldn't leave the staircase cap on indefinitely. So they're just gonna have to get used to the fact that they can't get in there. Um, we'll see how long that lasts too. One of them did make it through briefly the other day, and I went after him, and he just basically froze because like he ran towards the pile of totes and he just didn't know where to go. I like to base content, but instead of sending pieces by mail, maybe have a PPT. I'm assuming that's a computer file with high-res photos. Send that around instead. It would be easier to share with potential customers. I have to sort out 120 studs for this order. Stupid past me for pulling all my studs in one drawer for a while. Whoops. Um, yeah, and it wasn't actually so much geared towards the customers knowing what your grading scale was, but just helping out new sellers so they could get a hands-on idea of like what other sellers are considering acceptable to sell. But I mean, you certainly could also use it for a customer if they're like, "What condition are these pieces?" And like, barring taking pictures of the actual pieces, you could send them that file and say, "Well, this is like what I would sell and what I wouldn't sell by these numbers," and you can take a look at those to get an idea of what you might get. PowerPoint, yeah. I'm not terribly technically inclined, that's for sure. Which I guess is why I kind of lean towards a different method. Tango. I will be right back. That worked much better than I thought it was. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Well, I mean, I I will say this. I may have made it a year posting a different video every day, but I don't really think my content is like exceptional by any means. Um, but yeah, I mean, it does take a certain amount of being on it, making sure you don't miss. I know I had been trying to do it starting earlier the year in last year and then messed up in April. Um, at the very least, the 15th last year I missed. But yeah, it's one of those things. Ugh. Oh, no problem. Over 2 hours already. 9 people still here. Well, that might include. Does anybody know? Does that include me? I don't know. Good question. There's at least 8 other people here, if not 9. I just don't. I don't know for sure it counts me or not. Oh, yeah. So 9 people, not including me. Also makes me wonder. There's probably a couple of people that have been just like lurking. I mean, a lot of people have commented, but I think we've had a couple of more people than this at max, and I think there may be some people that are just like hanging out and watching, which is fine. I may never know who they are, but it's fine. Spicy crack. Similar to Fago Moon Mist. The whole concept feels like a very gimmicky flavor. An apple flavored Mountain Dew. I don't know. I was going to stick with my orange flavored water. My large plate bin is going to have to get poured relatively soon. It's getting way too full. I haven't been pouring anything on the stream because it just gets really noisy and time consuming and that kind of thing. Maybe maybe he bought it at the Fred Meyer and returned it to Walmart, and they took it. I don't know. Welcome back, Evan. No reason to be sorry. I did make a joke at your expense, though, when you left. Just you said you had to take this call, and I said, "Oh, life with somebody working in Hollywood." That's definitely a brow wiper for sure, JB. Were the counts correct though? That's the best part. Or do we all need to scramble and send you a couple extra studs to complete an order? Huh. There you go. Never can tell what people are doing with stuff either. It's kind of fun though. Thanks so much, Mark. You guys have a great time. Thanks for stopping in. We'll do this again sometime, and maybe I'll set it up so it'll be more of an evening for you. That means my getting up early, but that's okay. I can handle that. Steaks? Are you buying steaks? Ouch. Leaf hunter. I just saw that. That's yeah, 15 short. That's rough. But yeah, gladly you did find something that could cover it. I kind of like I know Pop's Block Shop keeps a number of pieces somewhat sorted that aren't up for that sort of situation. I think it's more than just minifig parts too. So that's something that I've considered, but I mean, I don't really want to start a second sorting thing for overflow parts. That doesn't make sense. What I can think of is, especially with those small pieces like the studs and stuff like that, anything where I've got hundreds of it, I can see listing a few less than I actually have. I think I've got 143. I might list, 135 or something like that, because the likelihood that somebody won't buy from me because I don't have enough, but 143 would be enough, and I only have 8 less than that is probably slim. No problem, David. Welcome. Well, Leaf Hunter, the worst thing is, if somebody orders used parts and you have them in new, I mean, it costs you a little bit more, but I mean, if you can fulfill the order, I probably would just send the new if I had no other options. But yeah, no idea how sometimes that thing happens. Just chatting about all sorts of stuff, this, that, and the other. You must be home by now. Probably went out and got some food after work, Friday night and all. One white 1 by 1 tile. Do you want me to? I got tiles right here. I can try to find one. Yay, JB. Yeah, I mean, that's you still have to enter quantity numbers, but that's certainly one good reason for using the barcodes on the drawers. And I know Evan and Paul were saying that back when they started doing it, they weren't aware of anybody else doing it, and that certainly might be the case. But I definitely, it's a great idea, and I will be doing that. I just have to actually do it. Although I am going to be basically doing what Leaf Hunter did, and I'll have the drawer number and the barcode on the front, so I don't have to, use the back side of the drawer. It's just adding one sticker instead of two. It's going to be a ton more time saved when as many drawers as I have to label just to start with. Well, okay, David, but we don't want to see you die. I can see that being a possible use. I mean, I guess it would depend upon where you're labeling the drawers to. That's something I have to look at because, like, I know that one angle is better lower and another spot is better higher up, physically where the drawer is. But I kind of like the idea of them being all in one place. But yeah, I don't, I mean, as current setup is, I have about 7,000 drawers. I don't really want to apply 14,000 labels. It's going to be like an entire weekend task, I think, at some point to do the labels. So I'm probably going to be sick of it by the time I'm done. It'll be worth it. As you may or may not have just heard, I just poured off some more bulk for sorting. This is a bag from a Goodwill shipment, and I haven't really pawed through it or anything, and I see sealed bags in here, so that's always nice to see. Updating us is always a good thing, Leaf Hunter. But, inquiring minds want to know. Just don't take down your labeling video, because I keep going back to that, and I will again, I'm sure. I don't think I could remember all those steps. Yeah. Hmm. You're the one that made the video. Oh, this bag? No, that's not sealed. Sorry, people. They took a Lego bag. It's been opened and then taped shut. Nope, not sealed. Sorry. Oh, there's an interesting one. It's got a cape in it, it looks like. Or something. This one's been taped shut as well. That's interesting. Oh, well, it's interesting because I definitely like the alphanumeric idea because I'm going to be going left, right, for a picking path type idea. Thanks to, Chris James for that whole concept, which just makes sense. But I don't want to have numbers like super high. And I think it's going to be easier because I'm going to have each side will have the same number of drawers in a column so that like my A and my C and my E, A, C, and E are all going to be on the same side. So they're all going to be like drawers 1 through, let's say, 144. I don't know exactly how many it is. But after a while, I'll get to remember where a drawer number is on that side. And I just then need to know what letter column it's in to get an idea where it is so I can get to it quicker, as opposed to having to learn 7,000 drawers, where they all are, which, I could put up like number references, like, 1 through 1500 are on this side, and then 1501 through, 2280 or however it is, I could do that too. But I think it's just going to be easier to learn one much smaller set of numbers and just need to know what letter I'm in to find them. Well, here's an interesting one. I just happened to see this pop up as I was pawing through to try to pull out the sealed bags. It's an actual Lego piece, and this is actually like carved into the piece. Yeah. And of course, you probably can't read it to us. Regina Caeli Academy, Caeli. I'm wondering if they had that made special for them, or if maybe there was some weird set out there that I don't know about. It's an interesting piece. We'll put that aside. Well, it's only a thought as to how it will work. I also, this also gives me the ability to not have to worry about how many leading zeros I pad my drawer numbers with, because as it stands right now, I've got 7,000 drawers. The next unit I add, I will probably eclipse 10, or if not, it'll be really close. Be like 9,000 or something like that. So by not having to worry about leading zeros, I can just number everything A1. It doesn't have to be A00001 or whatever. Let's see what else. I know where a few key numbers are, but I still find myself looking for the numbers. Yeah. I'm completely numeric and have most numbers memorized. Yeah, I get that too. Maybe just don't get enough orders to get the repetition to memorize them. Yeah, there's probably a lot to do with that too. Make it easy to think in terms of 8s and small drawers. Yep. So David, you can put on a resume that you are octal understanding. You understand octal. D1892 and D1900 is next. I know it's directly below. Yep. But again, there's really no right or wrong way to do most anything. It's just what works for you. And if you find it doesn't work, or you find a better idea, you try to roll with it if you can. I mean, there's certain things that are harder to roll with, but or harder to change after the fact or whatever. But it's not impossible. also looking forward at some point in the future doing like live stream package opening, just like, hey, I'm going to open up a couple of Goodwill packages, and maybe I'll know what's in them, sort of, and maybe I won't. And it's just like, here we go, let's do it. So that's something I'm thinking about too. New parts all pulled onto used, only 23 left to pick and use. That's good. Yeah, most people have limits on all that stuff, that's for sure. Getting into trouble, Fango? I hope not. I think I'm going to start by opening up these two already opened bags. My guess is they pulled something out and then taped it closed to keep it from opening or spilling or whatever. But there's no joke that it's been opened. See if we can figure anything else about this. Yeah, if I had Brick Store already on my computer, I could probably quickly find out what set this is from. And it's just that I haven't thought I've had the need for it to put Brick Store on there yet, but very soon I will. Oh, Eric, yes, hello. I have a really good friend named Eric. Well, we have minifigure parts in here, so probably the torso would help me identify the set. It looks like a police torso, so it's probably just like a police set of some sort. Here's another torso with like perhaps a criminal's uniform for in jail or something like that. So it's probably just some police set. It was bag one, but it was a large bag, so it's probably like a police station. There was also blue and gray legs for them, so no heads for these guys. Yeah, and look here's his ball and chain. So I'm sure it was a police set of some sort. But it's probably not terribly necessary to know what set it's from because I'm not going to have all the parts for it, and so on and so forth. The one thing that is nice is I'm not really going to pay attention to the quality of the pieces. I'm going to assume that they're probably pretty new. So they're just going to get sorted. There's some sort of a four-wheeled vehicle in there because I had tires. Here's the wheels. Looks like 4 mud guards too. Yeah, it's a nice tile. Yeah, brand new tiles just feel differently too. Just that smooth surface is so smooth. And I just dumped it in the bin with the rest of the tiles, whatever. And then the small bag, which also don't know where it came from. I mean, it could have even been the same set. I mean, there's no way to know for sure, really. I see at least one head in here, so maybe this is where the heads are for the parts that... You think if they opened it, though, they were opening it to get the figs out, so I don't know. I'm not sure of anybody who would really bother buying a city police set to just get the figures out, but maybe. All right. So this is This is probably not a city set. This guy does not look like he's a city guy to me. The focus isn't great on that camera. It's a fancy webcam I picked up, and well, there's a police helmet, so maybe it is the same set. Okay, there's a couple of heads. That could be a criminal, and that could be a police officer. Yeah, so maybe it is the same set. How about that? Yeah. So uh, webcam I have is kind of this fancy thing. And actually, if I get in front of the camera and it recognizes that it's a person, it'll actually track my movement, so I can like walk around and it would follow me. So it's okay, buddy. Oh, I know. It's a horrible thing. Cat's life. And done. Well, it's been like 2 hours and 40 minutes. I'm thinking I'm probably going to wind it down here. It's almost 10. So let's see. 2:41 and 2:42, 3 minutes before 10. So that'll be 2:45 at 10. We started at 7, 3. So yeah, I lost about 15 minutes screwing around with the first stream that I couldn't figure out how to get it to work. Woohoo! Means you've got drawer space for that, JB. That's awesome. Although it also prevents you from making further headway on your wall. I know you're trying to fill that back wall in the U. And I know you said like you had numbered them completely left to right on that section, and you wished you had done more like unit at a time. I think other than the fact that you've got the big drawers at the bottom, I don't think it would be all that bad to pull drawers and get them in the right spot. I mean, I guess it depends how much it annoys you. I would imagine if you could probably get it done in a half an hour, but that's just me. Axio, thanks for stopping in. I think we're probably going to be winding down here anyway. Sleep well. Thank you. So let's see. Leaf Hunter and JB were here. Axio was here. That's 3 of the 5. I'm thinking David West probably already left. I'm wondering if Evan is still floating around somewhere, or if there was somebody else floating around back there in the ether somewhere. Oh yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I imagine at some point, Leaf Hunter, like we're all going to have that situation where we get orders from, some named person, and be kind of interesting to see what they build with it, especially if it's maybe a unique color or enough of a piece, or it's maybe a decorative piece that you can actually say, hey, there's the build. Those are the pieces I sold them. All right, be kind. I'll at least wait until you get back before we cut down. probably ending up very soon. Still kind of just listening and working. Hey, no worry to be. You don't have to be sorry. I was just curious about who all was here. So we had JB and Axio, Leaf Hunter, Be Kind, and Just a Brick in a Bucket. That's 5. We're down to 3. Leaf Hunter and see Axio was leaving. Just Brick in a Bucket, Be Kind, and then so somebody left and I didn't hear about it, but maybe they just dropped out. I need a computer that I can stream on while I work. Yeah. I mean, I'm just using my laptop. It's not in the best of places. It's actually, as you can see, my sorting area here, the laptop is directly behind me. So I can't see the stream and pay attention to what I'm sorting. So I kind of have to stop and turn and look. So, but again, this is just an upstairs sorting location. At some point, I will set up in the basement for that. And hopefully the lighting will be, I don't think the lighting is horrible here. It's a little dim perhaps, but I don't think it's that bad. But I know the lighting in the basement is much better overall. Had 2 strange orders. One just a 36-cent piece. One 3 cents short of my small order fee. Definitely someone didn't read my term. Yep. Usually my laptop is otherwise occupied while I work, brick store or whatever. Yeah, that's going to be an issue too. I've got some technology pieces that I'm going to need to implement. I have a couple of tablets that I've bought, like older Android tablets that I'm going to have to see if I can actually make use of well or not. It's like another stage and everything is trying to get all that stuff organized. But yeah, once I get to the point where I'm actually listing / or not even just listing, but open to sell, then I'm gonna like need to slow down a little bit and pay attention to the sales aspect and make sure I get all that taken care of, like, have a packing area set up and all that. But it'll come. It'll come. I think at this point I'm just waiting for Be Kind to stop back, because I am thinking we're gonna cut it as soon as he gets back, because I don't want to just like leave and then like, hey, I said I'd be right back. But he will be back, and then we'll say our goodbyes. And I don't think I want to do this terribly often, but maybe once a month or something. We'll figure it out, and I don't know, see what all you guys say. And because I mean, I don't want it to be particularly boring either.
Yeah.
Let's see. He's not back yet. I'm noticing I have a lot more non-Lego in this particular bunch. I'm glad that you think this is fun. Be Kind. I'm enjoying it. But I think as all good things have to come to an end at some point, we're going to have to cut this down. It's closing in on 3 hours. It's actually over 3 hours if you consider the fact that I was trying to get this started at 7, and it is just after 10 now. It took a few minutes before I said screw it and just started a brand new stream. So yeah, but thank you for all of you who did stop by. Yep, we're all gonna cut out at this point, I think. So thank you very much. I'm gonna wave goodbye, and we'll talk soon. Take care, everybody. Thank you. Thank you so much for that. Take care, JB. And be kind. We waited until you were back before we ended. We didn't want you to come back and have it already gone. So take care, and we'll talk later.